Yo, my guy, what's up, bro?
What's up, my man? What's going on?
Oh, just chilling. Figured we'd hop on here tonight, talk a little college football. What you say?
I said we do it.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Yes, sir. We have an interesting final coming up, so we just gonna hop into it. My name's Corey Hilliard. Man next to me, Brandon Hill, aka BL. We at a house divided. You been here before, you know what to do. If it's your first time, Mikasa Sukasa, B Hill, you got him.
You guys already know what time it is around here at the House Divided, guys. If you're not already, please hop down there, hit that subscribe button. Also, something I never mentioned, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody about our show. We'd love for them to become a part of the House Divided family as well. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you guys can be up to date on all our newest and latest content. Also, if you like what you're seeing, you like what you're hearing, there's that thumbs up button there. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. You guys already know what it is, so we can get out there on that platform so more people can hear and see our content. As well, guys, this one helps us out the most. Hop down there in those comment boxes. We want to hear from you guys. Good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. Y'all already know the drill around here at the House Divided. So, as we were alluding to, Corey, this college football playoff, man, of that first round. I'll start with the TCU Michigan game. I mean, I wasn't surprised by the outcome because TCU is a very good football team. Did I pick them to beat Michigan? No, I did not. If you would have put my feet to the fire before this game, I was rolling with Michigan. Didn't happen though. I was disrespecting the Horned Frogs. You know what I'm saying? They just basically that 51-45 score. I mean, Michigan made a little late surge there at the end. But TCU, I mean, can we just be honest and say that they pretty much had control of this whole entire football game? I mean, they had all the momentum. They had all the juice. Max Duggan went out there absolutely balling. You know what I'm saying? TCU had an answer for everything that they were going to throw back at them. Each quarterback both threw 2 picks. You know, the backup running back, though, for TCU was the one that kind of surprised me because Kendre Miller actually got hurt in this game. So you've seen a lot more of the backup in this game, and he had 17 carries for 150 yards and a touchdown against that Big Ten defense that Michigan was preaching about before they came into this game, saying the Big 12 couldn't hang with them. You know what I'm saying? So
Foolish.
Shout out to TCU, man. Quentin Johnson. I think in that show that we did on Around the Table, I said that dude was going to have a field day. If he had a field day, TCU was going to win. Well, he had a field day. He had 6 receptions, 163 yards, and a touchdown. Nobody could stop that guy. They just weren't ready for him on the defensive side. This was an offensive game because on both sides, they both put up numbers. I really think that Corum not playing for Michigan kind of, you know what I'm saying, slanted that thing down a little bit for Michigan. Edwards had a good game, but he didn't have what Corum would have done or could have done, I guess is what I should say. What's your take on this one?
Nah, man, I agree with you. There's a lot of talk from the Michigan players. One Michigan player said, TCU, they're in the Big 12, right? Like, I don't know if he really didn't know or he was just, that was trash talk. Yeah, JJ McCarthy pretty much saying that if they play that 3-3-5 defense, then we're just going to smash mouth them and show them what Big Ten football is. And to a degree, they did that. I mean, first play out the gate, Edwards goes for a long, long game, and you think it's going to be it's exactly what JJ thought it was going to be, but it wasn't that. I think what hurt Michigan most was their red zone offense. Number one, getting the ball down there twice and not coming away with points early on. And then on top of that, the 2 pick sixes from JJ. Bro, if you're going to run your mouth before the game and talk trash and throw 2 pick sixes, then that's a problem. So I think I think karma, the football gods gave him a little karma that he deserved. And I don't know if you remember, but I actually picked TCU to pull this upset in our preview show. I didn't think it was going to be this high scoring shootout. I thought the Michigan defense was going to be better than what it was, but bro, TCU, man, the run game. I mean,
They were a
DeMarcado, like
problem.
you said, the backup, 17 carries, 150 yards, a touchdown. He broke that long one for 69 yards just when Michigan had got back into the game. Quentin Johnson, like you alluded to, was an absolute animal, an absolute beast. And the defense for TCU, although they gave up 45 points, the 2 pick sixes, the timely stops they got in the red zone that I talked about, and they had 13 tackles for loss, 13 tackles for loss to Michigan's 3 tackles for loss. Right. Michigan had the better defense, so we thought. But TCU came in there, and I really think that Michigan slept on TCU. You can say what you want, that they came in prepared or whatever. I think they were sleeping on TCU, bro.
I think, too, it can't be understated. That first drive that you alluded to where they had that big run, they got into 1st and goal, 2nd and goal, 3rd and goal, and on 4th and goal, they went for it, and they did that.
They ran the Philly special.
That was stupid. That was stupid right there.
Coming out of a timeout. You came out of a timeout with that? I was like,
that was horrible. I was over at one of my buddies' house in Bartlesville, and I looked at him after they threw that, and I was like, dude, TCU's going to beat them. TCU's going to beat them. After those are the kind of plays in those bigger games that can change the momentum and change the complexity of a football game. And TCU was taking advantage of the turnovers that they had. Michigan didn't really take much advantage of the turnovers that they had. So those are always like whenever you're in these high-scoring games and it's that close and it's going to come down to the end, those little things matter. I mean, just think. They should have kicked a field goal there, man. In my opinion, I said take the points. Don't this early in the game. Don't go for it on 4th down. I mean, come on. And if you're going to go for it, don't run that. That was terrible. That was
weak.
I don't know what they was thinking. They really had disrespect for TCU, bro, because coming out there with that stuff, nah, don't do that. Good night, Irene, after they did that, in my opinion. So it just kind of proved the Big 12, man, they're not to be slept on. As an OU fan, we've been to the playoff. We lost, you know what I'm saying, lost every time TCU goes to the playoff, and they win it. So I've heard that out there. I just want to point out, I wish we could have played a Michigan team like that. I really do. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. They're about to find out. We're going to talk about it in the national championship, what Georgia football, SEC football, all about. That's a whole different animal than the Michigan Wolverines, and we'll get into that. Yeah. You got anything else on this game before we hop into this other one?
Nah, man. Shout out to the Horned Frogs. Great job representing the Big 12.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You could tell they were battle tested. They had been in close games all year. And
Absolutely.
Michigan really hadn't been battle tested. And then when the rubber starts meeting the road, and this is your first time really being tested in a big game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to what TCU had gone through all year in the Big 12 slate. They were primed for it, bro. So, big ups to them.
This next game, Ohio State, Georgia. It was in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, so it was right in Georgia's backyard down there in Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Georgia came up in there. They were supposed to blow Ohio State out. Ohio State made this a football game. All the way down to the time the ball dropped and they missed the damn field goal to end the game. But kind of jumping into this one, Corey, C.J. Stroud had an absolute day. I mean, 23 for 34, 348 yards. He had 4 touchdowns to goose egg, 0 interceptions. Now, Stetson Bennett on the other side damn near matched that, though. He had that one costly interception. It didn't end up costing his team the game, but it's like, and they held Bowers in check. I mean, if you're Ohio State coming into this game, Corey, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, C.J. Stroud's going to go for about 350. He's going to have 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. We're going to have about 119 yards total in the game and a touchdown on the ground. Marvin Harrison would go out, but Igbuka picked up the slack. They had some other guys that were making plays, everything else. If you'd have told me that, and you'd have said that Brock Bowers was held to 64 yards, Stetson Bennett had a turnover, I would have thought we're walking away with this one easy. Couple scores. You know what I'm saying? Just it looked like that. But Georgia, at the end of this game, they flexed their muscles. They scored 18 points to Ohio State's 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was the big one. I mean, they basically just said, we're still that team. Y'all are not going to beat us. Now, granted, you got to hit a 40-something yard field goal, though, to end the game. You got to do.
Make it interesting. Get close to the uprights.
That dude just wasn't ready for the moment. He just wasn't ready for that moment.
He had just hit a 48-yarder before that. B.
That's what I'm saying. Right. He wasn't. But that's a different 48-yarder than, you know what I'm saying, earlier in the game. I mean, this is break or make you. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. What's your takes on this game?
Man, I thought Ohio State just outplayed them the whole game, but what got them was the fourth quarter, dog. And the biggest thing was I think they were up 38-24 at one point in the fourth quarter.
They were.
So that's a 14-point lead that you relinquished, bro. CJ Stroud was absolutely phenomenal. 23 or 34, 348 yards, 4 tutties. He played the game of his life. And I kind of alluded to this in a preview show. And, we did a guest spot on another show, and I talked about Ohio State being the number 2 team the whole year until they took that L to Michigan. So, really, I thought Georgia had got a bad draw because they were really getting the number 2 team, the whole year. And I knew this was going to be a problem for Georgia because they really couldn't stop the pass as good as people thought. And so I think I completely thought Ohio State should have won the game. They gave up those big plays in the fourth quarter, and they let it get away from them. If Georgia plays like that against TCU, TCU will beat them. I'm telling you. I agree that Georgia's the best team in the country, but I've been saying this. Georgia, they could have lost to Missouri. Kent State gave them problems at home. They only beat Kentucky 16-6. I mean, these are teams that if you think Georgia, if they show up and play, that they should be blowing those teams out. And I've been saying it all year. Georgia is vulnerable. They can be had. And Ohio State had them. If
Ohio State didn't lose Marvin Harrison Jr., I'd argue they would have won this football game.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of questions on that being targeting in the back of that end zone. In my opinion, that's not targeting. The guy hit him with a shot. It was a bang-bang play. This is football at the end of the day. You're going to get hit. It's going to happen.
Yeah. If that's targeting, then we're in trouble as far as football goes.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy didn't lead with the crown of his helmet. It was nothing malicious. It was a hard hit. I mean, everybody's just crying. I mean, I'm sorry that Marvin Harrison got injured on that play. I'm not saying that I wish everybody gets in, but that wasn't targeted, man.
That's just football, man. He dislodged a man from the ball. You're taught that in middle school.
Yep.
Separate the man from the ball. Never
see ball, get ball. See ball, get ball. That's what you do.
He hit him hard enough so the ball popped out, and he hurt him in the process. That's been going on since football's been created.
That's just the way the game plays. But I think if they don't lose a Marvin Harrison, because they were already down to Travion Henderson in the backfield. You know what I'm saying? So they were already
guys, man.
They were. Now, granted, they still had C.J. Stroud, who I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the nation. But I go back to it again, man. Stetson Bennett, and that dude gets a lot of flack. He gets a lot of hate, everything. Stetson Bennett made the plays he had to make to win this football game for his team. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Ohio State missed that field goal, yes, but Stetson Bennett put them in that position to be able to be up by 1 to where when he missed that field goal, they won the football game. So I think that that's very big, and it's something that should – because there's a lot of people that are hating on Stetson Bennett being at the Heisman Trophy candidates. It's like, dude, the dude's got a national championship under his belt.
And he's the quarterback of the undefeated SEC champions. That
exactly.
Ticket to the Heisman ceremony.
I agree 100%. So, and before we move on to this national championship game, I do want to point out something here. And I think I alluded to it at the end of the last show, but it didn't drive home. I'm sorry, Lincoln Riley and USC, man. I told you, USC fans out there, this is what that man's about. This is what he does. When the game and the lights get the brightest, he will find a way to lose the game. He will. I promise. It's just one of those things. I'm not hating. I'm not one of those bitter OU fans, this and that, but he doesn't coach defense. And that's what kills him every single time because he always has a top 5 offense. He always has a Heisman Trophy candidacy quarterback or somebody that's legitimate for that. But what happens? The same results. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious the way that it did happen. I mean,
OU Twitter was live after that.
Oh
game,
yeah, and there was
memes,
all them
the memes that came out after that. Man,
It's a and to point out something else. I mean, Lincoln Riley couldn't recruit talent to Oklahoma, right? That was what he said. He couldn't recruit the talent that he needed to win a national championship to Oklahoma, so he went to USC. Corey, guess what that man's recruiting class is ranked right now in the 2023 class?
I bet it's not as good as OU's.
Number 15. You know where OU's at?
Probably like 5 or 4 or something.
They're at number 5 right now. And if you go,
that's a sorry excuse on his part.
And if you go and you look at the players that have committed and signed with Oklahoma, and you go look at their offer list, I think 25 of them signed. So we got 25 incoming freshmen. 24 out of those 25 were offered by USC. I love it. I absolutely love it. And when you go and you look at USC's, there was some guys, of course, high-profile guys that were offered by OU because if you got the number 1 receiver, one of those quarterbacks, you're just going to have those offers. But there wasn't near as many as came to Oklahoma. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think the big thing about that, you can't recruit at OU. I think what helped y'all against them is they're going to the Big Ten in 2 years.
Yep.
Right, and you guys are going to the SEC in 2 years, and I think guys would rather play in the SEC
absolutely
for Oklahoma than play for USC in the Big Ten. Because
let's just be honest. Go ahead.
The Big Ten ain't the SEC.
It's not.
Right, the SEC is a big show. That's where the big dogs go to play. You know what I mean?
Right. And with this college football expansion, with that playoff expansion going to 12 teams, I mean, you could possibly see like 4 or 5 of those 12 teams being from the SEC. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be like you could possibly lose 2 to 3, maybe 4 games in the SEC. 4 might push it. I could see 3, but you could get up there in the top 12 with 3 losses in the SEC against who the competition that you're going to be playing. So it's going to be absolutely phenomenal to watch. I'm excited to get there as an OU fan, but we have some work to do. You know what I'm saying? We got to let these classes keep stacking. You can't just get one top 5 class and say, "Oh, we're good." No, you got to keep them stacking. You got to keep them coming. Keep the talent rolling through.
Yeah, no doubt. And the retention factor, how many of these guys are you going to be able to retain throughout the years?
Absolutely.
Because as you see, the portal, some of these guys might be unhappy with their playing time. I mean, I don't think they're going to be unhappy with the Norman experience and going to OU. I think you're going to get a lot of 4 and 5 stars, and some of them are not going to play right off the bat. And then some of those guys might want to jump ship. So how many guys can you retain?
Right.
The good part is you're signing top 5 class. Now, the hard part is going to be how many of those guys can you keep there?
No, absolutely. So, and I mean, if they leave,
but that's a good problem to have.
I'm good with it. That's what I'm saying. Because if you're Alabama had a bunch of guys jump into the transfer portal. What do? Just went out there with the number 1 class. He's got like 7 5-stars over there. It's just absolutely ridiculous what Nick Saban's doing on the Nick Saban's just doing what Nick Saban always does. They always finish with the top 3 class, and proof's in the pudding, guys. You have to recruit to be able to win in today's college football. Now, TCU, if they win, they're going to absolutely blow the top off of that because usually the formula, you have to have at least 10 to 15 4 and 5-star players on your roster to be able to win a national championship. TCU doesn't have that. They got a bunch of 2 and 3-star guys, bunch of guys that were walk-ons at other places and came and transferred to TCU. They got guys that just want to play some football and they want to get down and show the world what they're about. So let's go ahead. Let's hop into this national championship preview talking about that, Corey. TCU and Georgia, my guy. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season this would have been our national championship game, I'd have looked at you and laughed. I really would have. I'd have been like, dude, what now? TCU's not going to no national title. But here they are. Here they are. Yeah. And, I mean, you got Max Duggan. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate. He had Spencer Bennett. Is it Spencer Bennett? Is that right? Did I say that right? I'm terrible. Stetson Bennett. Yeah, I'm the worst. Yeah. With Spencer, Stetson, who cares? Bennett.
You got it right earlier.
That guy right there, he went ahead. He went to the Heisman Trophy candidacy as well. Is Kendre Miller, to me, in this game, is going to be the biggest X factor. How healthy is he? You see what I'm saying? Because I think it's going to take a little bit more than just Quentin Johnson getting 160 yards to be able to beat this Georgia football team. Because I do believe that Brock Bowers is going to have more than 65 yards in this game. I believe that. Yeah. Because I think Ohio State's defense had a little bit more athletes to be able to key in on a Brock Bowers. I don't know if TCU is going to be able to do that. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. The line in this
Michigan just put up 45 on them?
Yep.
Throwing a ball, and that's not Michigan's MO.
Georgia can throw the ball way better. They got a couple running backs that can run the ball. They are deep. They got a good offensive line. They're a very, very good football team. I mean, say what you want to about Stetson Bennett. He's got pieces around him. Hell, me and you could go out there and play for Georgia at quarterback, man. Just don't turn the ball over and don't mess up, and your defense is going to bring it home for you. So, minus 12.5 in this game. I'll let you talk about it, and then I'm going to give my pick after that.
I don't think Georgia covers the 12.5 if that's what we're talking about. I think TCU, they're going to do what they've done all year. They play close games. They're going to be there right at the end. This is a team with no quit in them. They're surprisingly good. I don't think Georgia has a guy that they can't cover Marvin Harrison. They're not covering Quentin Johnson.
I agree. I would agree with that.
They're not covering that dude. He's to me, he's just as every bit as good as Marvin Harrison is right now.
Right.
And then you got the running attack. You know what I mean? You're dealing with a quarterback that's going to run way more than C.J. Stroud did.
Yep.
He's got escapability. Bro, yeah. Kendre Miller, if he doesn't play, I mean, DeMarcado showed that he's more than capable of running the ball. I think Georgia's going to be surprised at the talent level of TCU.
Absolutely.
That's going to take them off guard a little bit. But I still, if I had to pick it, I'm going to pick Georgia to go back-to-back. I just think they're an overall more talented team. I think them almost losing to Ohio State was a wake-up call.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. Me and you were talking on the same language. I got Georgia winning this game, but I don't think they're going to cover that 12.5. I think they could win by something like 7 to 10 points in this game. I think that they're going to get a couple scores late. I think this is going to be a close game throughout, and then I think Georgia kind of in the fourth quarter, they're going to put their foot on that gas pedal and just say, we are the national champs, we are SEC, and we are the more talented team. I mean, they got more 5 stars on their team than anybody right now. They're deep. They just sent damn near 14, 15 guys to the NFL last year, and they just retooled that defense, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
this team, if you ask me, this team's not as good as last year's team. I think last year's team was more talented.
Not defensively, and offensively.
Yeah. But it's still Georgia. It's still, to me, they're new Alabama is what I call them. They're the new standard as far as recruiting, getting good players, being able to reload year to year to year. They're taking that mantle, I think, from Alabama. Especially if they win this game, they'll be the first team to repeat as national champions since I think Alabama did in the early, 2011, 2012.
Right.
So,
and
they'd be the first team to do it in the CFP era too.
I do think that's really big, and it can't be understated though how Max Duggan can take off and run though. I don't think that can't be That cannot be understated in this game because what is one thing that you can do to offset a rush? Or you see what I'm saying? Or if your offensive line's getting overpowered, scrambling quarterback. You can offset those deficiencies at the offensive line. Because let's get real, Georgia's going to be able to get pressure on him. I mean, they only give up on the year, Corey, 77 yards a game. So that defense, as far as rushing, is stout. They only give up 215 passing yards, so they're giving up under 300 yards of total offense for the season. And they're only allowing less than 13 points a game, and they score almost 40. That's a problem, man. That's just a problem. I think that this is just going to simply come down to my Jimmies are better than your Joes. I just do. And, I mean, if TCU comes in there, they pull this upset off and they win, I'll gladly come on this show and eat my crow just as you will, but I just don't see that happening. I just don't. But the 12.5 is too high. I wouldn't pick that. So
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, C.J. Stroud, he had some rushing yards against him too. It wasn't a lot, but at key times in that game, shoot the last drive, he had like that 30-yard run or a 20-yard run to set them up and get them in field goal range.
And Duggan's way Georgia. Better. Way better at running the football.
Way better runner, but so come on. There's going to be meat there on that bone for Max Duggan to eat in the run game.
The football fan in me wants to see TCU win this game, though. I ain't going to lie, man. I'm going to be rooting for TCU. I want to see them win this football game just for the Big 12. Even though OU's going to the SEC, I should be saying, come on, Georgia, SEC strong. Nah, man. I want to see David. I want to see David take down Goliath in this one. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. As a football fan, I think it'd be good for the game of college football and kind of show some of these recruits and everything that it's not always just about who's on the football team as far as the star rating. You have some heart. You want to play the game of football, you can win. And that, I mean, Sonny Dykes, there's a reason he was the AP Coach of the Year this year. That guy has done an absolutely phenomenal
job.
Coaching job. And Gary Patterson walking out. You know what I'm saying? Gary Patterson was always that guy that was like Mr. TCU, everything else, and they bring in Sonny Dykes from SMU.
Bro, he's got a statue outside of the TCU stadium.
I know. So Sonny Dykes is going to have one right next to his or in front of his if he wins this damn national title. I can tell you that right now. Yeah. I think he's already got one ready to go right now with what he's done up to this point. So, and another thing, too, everybody was saying they shouldn't be in here because they lost in the Big 12 title game. Run your mouth, everything else. Watch them just go in there and win. It's they have nothing to lose. They really don't.
Money.
They really are. So I would love, if I'm a TCU person or I'm a TCU fan, I'd love to be in this position and say, come on, Georgia, let's go. But if I'm a betting man and you hold a gun to my head, I'm going with Georgia. Georgia's just gonna win this football game. But we'll see. I could be wrong.
I don't know. You know, Mattress Mac is involved. I don't know if you know who Mattress Mac is, but that dude places big-time bets on big-time football games and basketball, baseball. He put 1.5 mil on TCU to win it. So, and he usually comes out on top. He usually is right when he places those bets.
Yikes.
So 1.5 million to win 5.5 million.
Does he know something we don't?
He usually, bro.
Is there something that we don't know? I mean, who's hurt?
Right too, man.
Ooh, he needs to calm down. I don't know. I couldn't do no stuff like that. Even if I had the money, I don't think. Man, even if I had it though, I don't know if I got the balls to do something like that. I just when I play with my money, I want to be able to control it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not controlling that. That's a lot of money.
Bro, he put like $11 million on the Houston Astros this year to win the World Series and cashed off like $75 million.
Well, that was a given. That was a given. I could have did that.
Still though, man, baseball's tricky, man. You know how it is. You get to the playoffs and
Yeah.
Most times the best team don't win.
Yeah, but in baseball, if you have the best pitching, which the Houston Astros did, you usually win.
Yeah.
Usually win. That's usually how it works. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Yankees fan. They swept us. Yeah, but it'll be all right. My Yankees got some pitchers this offseason. We'll see what happens there. But anything else you want to touch on tonight?
Nah, man, that was a good preview show. I can't believe the season's almost over, man. Monday night, it'll be all done.
Absolutely. It's insane. This season has absolutely flown by. After the season gets over, though, that just kind of opens the door up for more basketball talk. We'll get a little bit deeper into NBA talk after that. I think that's how we're going to work this thing out. But also, too, I just want to update everybody on what I've heard. DeMar Hamlin, I don't have like any inside intel, but from what I've been hearing, things seem to be trending in the upward direction of that man getting healthy and getting back to life. You know what I'm saying? Back to his normal life, everything else. They said that he was 100% relying on the oxygen, and they've got that down to 50%. I've also heard that, like, the doctors in that 24-hour span, that they were like, okay, he's where we want him to be. These are encouraging signs as far as, like, the stats, everything else. So I think it's just a matter of getting him out of the sedation right now and seeing his brain function and everything else, which my prayers have been with that man. I don't know that man right from left, but, I mean, I'm going to pray for him. Anybody. And I don't want to see anything bad happen for a guy that was playing the sport that he loved. And another thing to point out that I was watching on Twitter today, it's kind of one of those harsh things that nobody wants to bring up, but this guy brought it up on Twitter. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was talking about how you got to be in the NFL for at least 3 years to receive a pension. You would know about this, Corey, as far as like pensions for players and everything else.
Yeah, it's 3 years and 3 games, so technically 4 years.
Okay, this guy's only played 2 seasons, Corey.
Yeah.
So the NFL, he was getting $160,000 this season. Yeah. That's what he was making because he was a 6th-round draft pick. You see what I'm saying? So the NFL can sit there all they want and say, pray for him, do all this. What are they going to do if this man has to have intensive care for the rest of his life? You see what I'm saying?
They got to take care of him, yeah.
They have to. You have to change the way that you're running this thing. It has to be changed, and there's no way you can let the NFL get away with that if that man doesn't get taken care of for the rest of his life. Because he literally put his life on the line for your game.
Yep. No, you're 100% right. So they got to do right by him. I think if they don't, they'll look like complete. I don't even have the word for it. But they know better. They know better.
Multi-billionaire organization.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The brand of the NFL. It's at risk right now. It really is. They ain't never dealt with nothing like this. You've seen guys get concussed.
Football. There will be an attack on football by society, saying, see how dangerous it is. And people will come out and attack football. It's already happening.
No, it is. It is. I heard about them talking about no more tackling football. I've heard rumors like that out there. Stop it.
Yeah.
If they take tackling away.
Bro, the CNN read a segment last night about outlawing football. Bro. It's coming.
They better take care of that, man. That's all I got to say. And take care of all your players. They need to change that to where when you play, you got to play 3 years and 3 games. They got to change that. That's got to be changed. If you get drafted into the NFL, you should automatically receive a pension for the rest of your life. In my opinion. If you get drafted. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to go out there and start and play and do all that. Because if you've gotten drafted, you're already within that 1 percentile of the rest of the nation that made it to that point. So you should be rewarded for that for the rest of your life.
Your life is on the line every day, man. That hit that he took, I've seen that hit 1,000 times in practice during training camp. In my 8 years of playing the NFL.
Yeah.
That's a normal hit that happens when you're not even tackling. When you're thudding up in practice, that hit can happen. So, You know, your life is at stake every time you go out on that football field, bro. So I agree with you. I agree.
It's just they need to take care of those guys that are out there putting their lives at risk. And I think that this is going to open up a whole new conversation for that. I really do. The NFL, this was like, if you're the NFL, and I hate that it has to be like this for them to learn their lesson and to try to make things better, but it's kind of like, this is like your worst case scenario right here.
Yeah.
You better
learn from it.
If the NFL, it's more than football at this point. The NFL better hope and pray that man lives. Mm-hmm. They better hope I hope he lives just because he lives. To hell with the NFL. But if you're in the NFL shoes, they better hope that man lives.
Yeah.
So that's my take. I'm a little passionate about that. I didn't even play in the damn league. You did. So you're feeling what I'm talking about. You experienced what I was talking about.
I appreciate what you're talking about, because it's real stuff, man. It's real stuff. It's like you said, if this man if he doesn't come through this, players are not going to step back on that field without some kind of guarantees.
Right.
We just all witness, heaven forbid, we're all pulling for him. But if he doesn't make it, then you're telling your whole league of players is looking at you like, okay, you want us to go back out there and potentially have that happen to us? And you're not going to take care of us for the rest of our lives if we do not? That won't, no.
Or take care of my family for the rest of their lives, things like that. Set my kids up for college, everything else, so forth. It's just,
I don't think it has to take, and like I said, we pray, me and you both. I think everybody. It shouldn't have to come from him. It shouldn't have to come to him even passing away.
Right.
This, where we've gotten right now, is far enough.
Yep.
For players to say, "Hey, y'all need to take care of us because this is how dangerous it is."
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. We thought the concussions were a real thing, man, and it still is. This is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. So, thoughts and prayers are out there with the Hamlin family.